I'm Jason with the All Things Open team. I'm here with Tobie. Please introduce yourself to the ATO community.
Hi, I'm Tobie, CEO and co-founder of SurrealDB. SurrealDB is an open source multimodal database which is simplifying and trying to revolutionize the database space.
All right, well, for those that aren't familiar with it, can you give us, what is a multimodal database? What is it? What problem does that solve?
So a lot of organizations, developers, engineers, they're usually using a relational database like Postgres or MySQL. They're using a document database, potentially a time series database, and then maybe some graph on the side. If they're not using those, they may be bringing that data down into their applications and doing it in the applications. SurrealDB enables you to bring all of those models together in addition to key value access, vector search, full text search, all of that together in a single platform. You don't have to choose up front which model you want to use. You can combine all the different models in a single query, and it's designed to perform at a similar level as a specialized database doing just one thing.
Got it. Are there any other advantages of multimodal databases that you want to cover?
I think the most important thing is its simplicity. Simplicity of the infrastructure management, simplicity of the deployment, simplicity of the application development. When you work with one system, you can actually get better performance and a simpler development process or lifecycle than if you have to build a system against 5, 6 specialist databases with the network stack, with the infrastructure stack, with your own custom code to communicate with all of those. So numerous benefits are kind of across the board.
Got it. What is SurrealDB and what problem does it solve?
So I think the first reason people are coming to SurrealDB is the ability to come from a database you already use and not have to change your mindset. So if you come from relational, you can use an SQL-like query language. We're not anti-SQL, but we support the majority of it without joins. But then vice versa, you can come from a document database. We have nested objects, nested arrays, arbitrary depth objects as well. And then vice versa, if you come from a graph database, you can make use of graph functionality. So we're not forcing you to have to think in a different way. But at the same time, you can then benefit from combining multi-models together in a single query. So a lot of people come to us for combining document with graph, being able to do real-time analytics on that at a large scale. So another thing that SurrealDB has is it can be run in embedded mode, so think SQLite. It can be run as a single node server, or it can scale up to in a highly available, highly scalable environment. So we separate the storage from the compute layer, and that enables us to scale each layer independently. So a lot of people are using us for real-time analytics and effectively comparing, let's say, vector indexes or RAG with graph, with document, and with key value access.
Really cool. Are you applying any AI or machine learning technology in SurrealDB?
So we have a piece of functionality where you can bring a machine learning model built in TensorFlow, PyTorch, sklearn, and we're adding other model support as well. Or you can pull a model off Hugging Face. You can bring that right into the database as effectively a kind of stored procedure, a custom defined function. You can then run that model or infer on that model wherever you might run a traditional SQL function. So you could say, I want to select all from this table where the output of this model is greater than 20. So if you want to do price prediction on, house sales, vice versa, you can also use those models in triggers. So when something changes, if someone's income increases, we can rerun the model and update that document automatically behind the scenes.
That's pretty cool, man. All right, I'm going to change gears here a little bit. I'm curious about data time travel. Okay. What is that?
Hey, this is Todd with All Things Open. Thank you so much for watching. We truly appreciate it. Also, be sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification button. We've got a lot of new content coming we think you're going to be interested in. One final favor, be sure to go to allthingsopen.org, allthingsopen.org to see everything that we do. Back to the video.
So you've got two aspects. You've got time series, which is, you're storing time-based events, usually as a field in a database, and that's the primary key, and you're indexing and then filtering later based on other metadata, other fields. In SurrealDB, you have that functionality. You also have something called temporal querying or time travel, which is almost invisible to the query language. Behind the scenes in the storage layer, we're storing every single version of the data as it's changed over time. And efficiently, So we've built our own data structures and storage engine to be able to do this. But efficiently, you can go and say, what did the key value storage engine look like at a particular point in time? Now, when we put SurrealDB on top of that, we can say, what did this graph data structure or these relationships or this particular table look like 6 months ago or a year ago? So you can now do really efficiently network analysis, fraud detection, data auditing, change auditing, and compare previous historical data with the data that you're seeing at the moment without having to ever lose or index that data in your fields yourself.
That's fascinating. Okay. I mean, well, the next one I want to get to is around AI. How are you using AI in your everyday work? Any tips or tricks on for somebody getting started with it on how to approach it?
Yeah, I think interestingly, it was just on Monday that I heard a statistic that there have been the number of bugs due to AI in code has increased. I think it might have been 60%, but it saved us 40% of time or something. So. I think it's useful, especially when you're building complicated systems like SurrealDB, to kind of help you navigate around some of the more difficult issues. I think when it comes to code, we're still a little bit way off actually writing good code. I think especially when you're building something like a database, you have to make sure your code is written in a very performant way. You have to analyze every single line to make sure it's done properly. And I've looked at some of the tools out there, and some of the code it generates isn't necessarily the most accurate. Interestingly, I saw a blog post earlier this morning about Stack Overflow, and our Stack Overflow usage has dropped significantly, but then our models are being trained off this data from Stack Overflow. So eventually there's going to be a trigger, a point, a confliction point where we don't have the data that we need to train the models effectively based on our platforms that we're using to answer those queries. But I think really interesting. I think no one can ignore AI, right? We're putting machine learning and artificial intelligence into the database. I think that's standard. I think you look at everyone here is building on top of AI in some way. There's lots of improvement to be done, don't get me wrong, but there's lots of possibilities out there as well.
Got it. Thanks for sharing your perspective. Do you have any tips, best practices, or new tools you've been using that we could share with the ATO community?
Interesting, right? I'm quite a basic person, so I'm not one for loads of different tools. However, I've been using a new editor. So SurrealDB is built entirely in Rust. Okay. So there's a new editor called Zed, which is built in Rust as well, and it's great for working in Rust. And they're adding new languages to it as well, so that's great. As a team, we use Linear, obviously Git and GitHub. We're massive users of. I think. I don't know.
That's perfect.
I'm text editor. Do everything in a text editor.
People are going to love what you said. It's great.
Yeah.
All right, Tobie, thanks for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. It's been great, and thanks for having me.
All right, thank you.